Hey guys, welcome back. This weekend, the last weekend of international rugby, unfortunately. Very sad time indeed. So it is England versus the Springboks, the first time they're playing since the 2019 World Cup final. So it is a big one in the media. It's been heating up a little bit on Eddie Jones's side, where he's trying to make this a new World Cup final as well. On the Springboks' media side, there's just a lot of attention on Rassie Erasmus, nothing further than that, but I'm not going to touch that. I want to talk about rugby. I don't want to talk about controversies off of the park. So, getting to the two sides, there's a couple of changes for England, 3 changes for them, and then 3 changes for the Springboks as well. I have to say, the front row changes are it's quite shocking actually for England. Eddie Jones did mention that the front row and their scrum is definitely not weak. But if you do compare the two sides, the Springboks have 167 caps more than England. A lot of those caps do come in the front row as well, with Oxenche, Bongi Mbunambi, and then Trevor Nyakane. They are up against a young-ish or more inexperienced front row, where Bevan Rodd, he made his debut last week at number 1. And then Blameyer, I think he has 4 or so caps to his name as well. At the hooker, Kyle Sinclair, everyone knows what he can do. He's a brilliant prop as well. He will remember that World Cup final as well for the hit that he got. I think it was from Beast as well. So it is a little bit of a target here, I think, for the Springboks, where they can win the game. These youngsters will want to prove what they can do. Second row there, you don't get a bigger battle than those two number 4s going at each other again. Eben Etzebeth and Maro Itoje, they've went up against each other so many times so far in their career. And this week again, they're going to do the same thing again. Two locks that are such workhorses around the park as well. Eben Etzebeth, one of the most important things he did last week was he put a lot of pressure on Finn Russell. And Finn Russell and Marcus Smith is probably two number 10s that are pretty comparable to one another. So look out for Eben Etzebeth putting in that big hits, and Loet de Jager, also a tall fella when it comes to the line-out time as well, up against Johnny Hill here. So that line-out time, I think, could be an equal contest in this one. Then we get to the loose forwards, where I think it's pretty even as well. Courtney Laws, I think he's captaining now for the second time in his career, the English side. He's playing on the side of the scrum these days and doing quite a good job at it. Sia Kulisi at number 6 also captaining the side, so both number 6s captaining the teams. Kwagga Smith, he's had an impressive Autumn Nations series thus far this year, really putting his hand up to secure that number 7 jersey. And remember, he's just filling the gap with Peter Steph Twain not available for selection with his injury. Underhill at number 7, I think I was very excited to see him more in this side, but he hasn't really delivered so far. Then at number 8, Tom Curry, who's still playing at number 8. I still would prefer him at the side of the scrum, versus Dwayne Vermeulen, who's always been probably one of the best forwards in the Springboks team. He's kind of lacking a little bit now these days behind Sia Kulisi and Kwagga Smith. And when I say lacking, it's just because those two guys are playing so well. Dwayne Vermeulen, he never has an off day. When he has an off day, he is still playing above average rugby. The exciting change for Springbok fans, it comes in the form of Kobus Reinach coming in at number 9. Every time he comes onto the park so far from the bench, there has been a little bit of a spark for the Springboks. Things have went a little bit quicker as well. Ben Young's at number 9. He is up against him, the most experienced guy the English team have in their squad in this game. Marcus Smith, he's going to be under a bit of pressure. I think he is obviously that playmaking style number 10 that could do anything on the park. He's quite exciting, but playing against a team like the Springboks is probably going to be the most pressure he's ever had to face with that rush defense of the Springboks, with 2-meter walls in the form of Loet de Jager and Eben Etzebeth running at him. It's going to be difficult to execute some of his moves, so we'll have to see how he does this week around. Andre Pollard, probably not in the best form. I would have preferred to see how Kobus Reinach and Jantjies go together, because that is exciting. Every time Kobus Reinach has come on. He's played kind of with Yankees at the moment, but now it is with Pollard, his Montpellier teammate. So probably there is that connection as well. But Pollard, he has been playing very flat, not getting the ball to the correct players either. The start of the game, it is pretty conservative rugby for the Springboks. They only start opening up on the 50th minute. So that's probably what the plan is here, to have a conservative style 10 starting the game, and then Yankees coming in from the second half. Then we get to the centers. Damien de Allende versus Tulagi, two big men of the game, two guys that love hitting each other quite hard when they get the ball. The only thing that I have to say is a concern for England, the Springboks are quite used to defending a hard running number 12s. They do defend them quite well. Usually the big number 12s don't do much against the Springboks defense. It is the playmaking style number 12s that do a lot against the Springboks, that can open up their defense. But they do have a guy like Henry Slade outside of Tulagi, so if they do shift around, he can be another playmaker in that back line. Lukhanyo at number 13, he's had a superb season so far. He would want to finish that off in style, just like Mapimpi as well, who's just scoring tries every single week. He is up against Joe Marchant at number 14, who is a center. We've seen him a couple of times on the wing, but I think the reason he is there is he is good in the air as well. He's good on defense as well. The Springboks will maybe just hope he shifts in a little bit, as an outside center tends to do when it comes to defense. They shift inside and leave the wing open. Johnny May, one of the quickest wings in this world, on 11 up against Jesse Creel, another center playing on the wing this week around. He's been good at defense. He helps a lot on ruck time as well, which is probably one of the big reasons he is still in the team. And a guy like Nkosi and Fasi was left out and sent back to the Sharks again, because Jesse Creel, he is like having another flanker in the team. Then we get to the fullbacks. Willie Leroux, he had a less than average game last week. He did not do well in that game. I thought Frans Steyn would come on even earlier than he did. And then Freddie Stewart at number 15. He's been impressive so far for me in the English side. A very tall fullback as well. So up in the air, he is pretty good. He reminds me of a guy that we may not probably speak of anymore, how media is these days. A guy like Israel Folau is a comparable guy to Stewart. Then we get to the subs, or the finishers like England calls them. The finishers, when it comes to the front row, I have to say still the Springboks have the upper hand there with Marks, Kitshoff and Koch, who plays for the Saracens as well. They've been doing their thing every time coming off of the bench, scrumming guys away. My dog is busy here next to me today. Nick Dolly, he's going to make his debut this week around. Joe Marler, the experienced number 17. And then Stewart at number 18. Ewells is at number 19. Franco Mostert at number 19 as a lock/flanker replacement. He always brings some energy to the game. Sam Simmons and then Jasper Wiese, two guys that know each other pretty well at the moment with how they face each other a lot in England. I think Sam Simmons, he's brought something to that team every time he comes off of the bench. And he's a guy to look out for along with Dom Brandt. If they want to make a big difference in this game, they would want to send them on early, because the Springboks, they do tend to pull away from the 50th, 60th minute. So you would want Simmons and Dom Brandt, one of those two, to be on the park by that time. Herschel Yankees at number 21. He hasn't been impressive so far this whole season. Elton Yankees at 22. And then Frans Steyn, which could be maybe his last game. He says he is considering retirement. Hopefully he is not going to do that, and we'll see him to the 2023 World Cup. Rafi Quirk at number 22, and then it is Marlins at number 23. Guys, getting to a prediction here. I'm going to be honest here. I do not see a Springboks loss here. I know all the media has said the same thing as well, and I hate it when everyone is confident like that in the Springboks, because it tends to kind of go the other way when everyone is confident like that. But that scrum, I can't see how they will overpower the Springbok scrum that tends to switch around at the second half of their whole front row, who is capable of starting the game as well. So that is a big thing for the Springboks to get penalties from. If Brace, who is the referee, gives them the penalties, I think it could be a comfortable-ish win. I think the Springboks to win by 9 points. Let me know your prediction down in the comments below. Also, check out these videos next to me. Hit the subscribe button if you do like the channel. And then I'll see you for more rugby. Cheers.